You bought a cursed space stone. Yep. You know, at this point, I'm not even surprised. I mean, what can I say? I was curious and I liked the pendant. Elias, you realize it's not even cursed, right? I mean, I kind of figured that was an over-exaggeration, but feel free to elaborate. Yeah, all the stuff that, people have been saying comes with Moldavite. Most of those were just incidents waiting to happen. Moldavite really didn't have anything to do with it. Are you saying this thing doesn't have any mystical powers and it's not cursed? I'm saying these things were just coincidences, and knowing you, that pendant is about to be cursed. So, in other spiritual news, I had the shit scared out of me by a spirit while I was at work yesterday. I was outside cleaning some windows in a courtyard, and in the reflection of the glass, I see a humanoid shape moving behind me. I immediately paused, set down my stuff, and was like, excuse you? See, at first I thought it was one of my coworkers or my boss coming up behind me to check up on me. It was just that defined in appearance. But when I looked, nobody was there. I asked if anybody was there, and all I got out of it was nice weather. Which it was. Yesterday was a nice day. It was partly sunny and a comfortable temperature. But that doesn't explain why you're freaking sneaking up on me while I'm doing my job. Perks of being a witch working in a 75-year-old building, there might be some spirits who can give you some interesting stories to tell. Well, technically speaking, a book of shadows can be whatever and however you want it to be. There are two ways that I know of that people create a book of shadows. Number one is they typically use it as a sort of guidebook, writing down all sorts of spells that they know for different purposes, color coordinations in terms of candles and wax, and ingredients and stuff like that. It's basically your guide to the most important stuff that you know in your practice that you can refer back to later. And you write new things down in it as you go along and continue learning. The second is sort of as a spiritual diary of sorts. Cataloging your experiences with spirits and deities, writing down new spells and how they turned out and how you could probably improve upon it, stuff like that. On top of writing everything down that has to do with your own personal shadow work. Like I've said before about shadow work, it's all about identifying the negative and toxic traits about yourself and constructing a plan on how you're going to overcome them. In the words of Tom Hiddleston as Loki, it varies from moment to moment. Lucifer is a fun deity to interact with in public because his commentary is hysterical. Like at the school I work at, there is a girl there who is protected by Athena. And one time I saw her, she did not even acknowledge me. She just looked right at Lucifer when he was tagging along with me, and she pulled one of these. And I was like, I'm sorry, am I missing something here? Do you two have beef? And Lucifer was like, it's not important, just forget you saw that. I need someone to confirm if Athena has some beef with Lucifer. I gotta know the tea behind this. Yes, actually, and I feel like this is as easy gets. Get yourself a dream catcher. I mean, I've got a few. Just having one in my kitchen for good measure. And of course, as we all know, one right above my bed. Oh yeah, can't forget the one that's in the bathroom. Obviously, be respectful of Native American culture. Buy from a native who actually makes them. They'll usually have a little card of authenticity that goes with them saying who made it, from what tribe. And those are just some of the levels of protection that I have up. I have spell jars, which aren't quite as simple to make. I have stones and crystals. You can use a wide variety of different stuff. And obviously, if dream catchers aren't your speed, then any sort of symbol of protection will do, such as a crucifix.
I have a question for the witches or pagans of TikTok.
Okay, so for the record, I've seen both of the videos that you've made about this incident on TikTok, and I know you've also received a lot of answers from other witches. I just figured I'd hop in and give my 2 cents worth. If I'm not mistaken, the crystals that you got in that envelope include selenite, bumblebee jasper, clear quartz, and Libyan desert glass. For the record, I love the creative names you came up with for those crystals because you didn't know what they were. Another witch told me that when a crystal breaks, that means its journey with you is over. So that gives me the impression that you were meant to find those stones. That was the whole intention of that entire envelope. Don't worry, it doesn't mean anything bad. You're not cursed. This is just a summary, but all of those stones are pretty much for cleansing and protection. Bumblebee Jasper is meant to boost creativity and inspiration. So whoever gave you that envelope just wants you to live your best life. I put on a shirt specifically to respond to this comment. I've been away from TikTok all week, so... What? I'm completely out of the loop on this one. People try to... I'm caught between wanting to laugh at this and wanting to facepalm myself. When did this occur? First and foremost, when did this occur? Because they might actually have a point with this. If this was recent, they might actually have a point with this. If God is as powerful and influential as he is, surely he can handle a little lawsuit, can't he? I want to know how the church responds to this. How does the church respond to this? I have so many questions. Okay, I'm going to try to be nice about this because I know you're not trying to be rude. Lying is a sin in your religion, correct? If I were to turn to Jesus Christ and start worshiping the Christian God, I would be lying to myself. Being a part of your religion has done absolutely nothing for me. As someone who has worked with Lucifer, Asmodeus, Ram, Venus, Mars, and now I'm picking up a few signs of Loki sneaking around here and there. If the Christian God wanted to make contact with me and wanted to talk, he absolutely could. If there were any misconceptions that occur or any miscommunication that happened in the past that he wanted to clear up, he could do that. It's been well over 13 years, and thus far that hasn't happened. I'm experiencing my own truth, and that truth happens to be on the left-hand path. Oh, absolutely. You know how many parallels I've been able to draw with other people who work with Lucifer? As it turns out, Lucifer and Athena do indeed have some beef with each other. Lucifer's still not willing to tell me what exactly it is, but when I made a video about that, there were quite a few people who confirmed it's just like, yeah, Athena and Lucifer's altars have to be in, like, completely separate rooms. Athena-Lucifer beef confirmed, and no, when I saw Athena where I work, that was just a totally wild guess. I had never seen or worked with her before, but she just sort of gave off that vibe that told me, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Athena. It could have been any other goddess, but my instincts just told me, yeah, that's Athena. So yeah, when you start working with deities, you can definitely start drawing parallels with other people that work with that same deity. I know exactly what you're talking about because I have been binge watching overly sarcastic productions on YouTube all the past couple of days. And given from all the research she has done, we really don't know what Loki is the god of exactly. I know everyone believes that he's a fire deity, but that comes from the Old Norse word Logi, which is spelled with a G instead of a K, and they're completely separate words. Loki's name, by very, very rough translation, means entangler, which would actually kind of make sense because in Old Norse, a cobweb is often referred to as Loki's net, and Loki can be associated with the appearance of spiders. A lot of the original details from the Old Norse stories were lost because of Christianization. Overall, Loki remains a complete enigma. And honestly, that's just like him. It's perfect. Okay. So, since I've brought it up in a couple of videos already, here's why I believe Loki's trying to get my attention. Number 1, spiders out the wazoo. Not necessarily here where I live, because here where I live, it's stink bugs, but at the school I work at, spiders out the wazoo. Number 2, the intense craving for cinnamon and sandalwood. Now, this in itself isn't too unusual because Lucifer himself likes a good bit of cinnamon and sandalwood, but rather his is more of just like a casual craving. This is more of with the intensity like I want to snort that shit. And third, things going missing or being misplaced. Now again, this isn't too unusual because I dealt with the same thing with Asmodeus. But this time it was with my vape, and that is a low not even he would stoop to. Okay, yes, just to confirm, it is Loki. Also, yes, I shaved my hair, what of it? Needless to say, the past couple of days have been interesting. Do you guys remember how I said Mars came to me initially to help me get motivated, get off my lazy butt, and to help me with some of my body image issues, mainly in terms of my weight? Loki's pretty much saying, your issue isn't with how you look, because you own it wherever you go. Your problem is in here. Your constant need for everyone's approval and thinking that you're always doing it wrong. The story of my life, I always overthink everything and think everything's gonna go terribly, horribly wrong in probably the worst way. And that everything I do is wrong and everyone is going to hate me for it. So I guess Loki is here to help me let my hair down a little bit? Metaphorically speaking, of course. You know, during my interrogation with Loki, this was one of the first questions I asked him. For the record, whenever I come into contact with who I suspect is a deity, I always do a thorough inquiry with them just to see if I'm actually talking to who I think I'm talking to. And Loki's response to that question was, yes. Now, despite how that sounds, this is not him saying that he is the god of anything and everything. It's more of his way of saying, whatever you think I'm the deity of, okay, we'll go with that. So let's say you perceive him as the Norse god of fire. Okay. You want to say he's the god of mischief, he's gonna say, okay, whatever. You want to say he's a protector of the home and hearth, he'll be like, okay, whatever works. Depending on the question, it's hard to get a straight answer out of the guy. He's not a trickster spirit, he is the trickster spirit. Let's just say, this is a conversation that went down between the three of us at one point. No, absolutely not. Elias, you are not working with him. Aw, come on, Lucifer, we're both devil figures in our respective mythologies. Can't we all get along? No, because you are literally everything the Christians accuse me of being. A liar, a trickster, a tempter, and a scapegoat. Anyway, it's not really my decision. Elias, you want to work with this guy? I mean, I kind of feel like it was inevitable. I have been sipping over versions of Loki for a couple of years ever since I discovered the Marvel movies. Plus, you named your cat after me, and it's kind of hard to ignore it when you're yelling my name every single night. Okay, so a good thing to keep in mind is that every deity has something that they're associated with. Colors, animals, fragrances. Like Lucifer, I also had a fascination with Loki. It did start off with the Marvel version of him, but the general mythology and stories about Loki I can listen to repeatedly forever. As I mentioned in a previous TikTok, the first thing to tip me off was the appearance of a bunch of spiders, which is one of the things that Loki is associated with. The second thing to tip me off was an intense craving for cinnamon and sandalwood. And third was him hiding my vape. Now, things going missing wasn't all too uncommon, as Modius used to do the exact same thing with my car keys. Putting those pieces together, I was just like, okay, this shit has to be Loki. And if you're wondering what Loki looks like for me, oh my goodness, let me tell you, I feel the same exact way. Let's start off with the fact that he was pretty much used as a scapegoat for the rest of the Norse gods. Seems like whenever one of them realized they fucked up, they would automatically turn around and go, oh, Loki! And whenever something went wrong, they'd always blame Loki. It was always Loki. Now, don't get me wrong, in Norse mythology, Loki causes plenty of trouble by himself. But you know one thing that never really added up to me? Baldur's death. How do you go from cutting off Sif's hair and tying a goat to your manberries to premeditated murder? And I think they did Loki really dirty by murdering one of his sons that did absolutely nothing in the stories just to chain him up. Like, that feels like such a dramatic leap. I unintentionally did something. This is Lucifer's altar, and the light has to be off in order to see it properly. But from this angle, it honestly looks like Lucifer is sitting beside a fire, wondering to himself what his life is. Honestly, Lucifer, that's a mood.
Also, the fact that we have to ask for consent to pray for people is hilarious.
Alright then, since you don't seem to have a problem with other people who don't share the same religion as you praying for people, then allow me to go. I pray that Loki finds you on your best day. I pray that Rom spares your dignity. I pray that Lucifer will show you the error of your ways. If you got offended by anything that I just said, you're a hypocrite. Because if you got offended by my words, then maybe you can understand the offense that we feel when Christians pray for us when we do not want it nor ask for it. If you keep it to yourself and do it privately, then fine, I don't care. But if you outwardly say, I'm going to pray for you, I'm going to turn that right back around and I'm going to pray to my gods for you. I think I frustrate him a little bit. A lot of the people that I work with have either been calling in or covering other buildings, thus resulting in me covering 3/4 of the building I work at by myself. Because I feel like that's my job. Meanwhile, Loki watches all of this and goes, why? Why do you do this to yourself? You have the authority to tell people what to do. Utilize the people you have and tell them what to do. Earlier this week, there were 2 kids that trespassed on the property after hours and were rattling the doors, seemingly trying to find a way in. And I did nothing. And Loki sits there like, you have the authority to tell those kids to buzz off. Tell them to buzz off! I do it in part because his frustration is amusing to me, and the concept that I'm a lead and can tell people what to do is still a foreign concept to me. The sad thing is that that's my favorite mythological story about him, but it might not necessarily be true. For the record, most of what we know about Norse mythology comes from the mind of Snorri Sturluson. He wrote the Prose Edda, which is in past tense, which implies that everything in the Prose Edda has already happened. Ragnarok has already happened, and thus Baldur is the one true god. We have to remember that Snorri was initially a Christian, and he was trying to appeal to a Christian audience for political reasons. Plus, this includes one of the questions I asked Loki, and he literally gave me this look and said, do I look like I am physically capable of pushing out an 8-legged foal? Does the average mayor look like she's capable of pushing out an 8-legged foal? Use your brain, Elias! Okay, so I feel the need to address something that I'm pretty sure every witch talker and every pagan on TikTok has seen in their comment sections. There are a lot of condescending Christians that will come onto our pages and go, Jesus loves you, who hurt you, why are you doing this? Listen, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but your religion is the one that hurt us. The harassment, the gaslighting, the guilt tripping, even the most casual of atheists out there who say, oh, I just never clicked with Christianity, it just never appealed to me, I never really believed in it, can say that they have been harassed by at least one Christian in their lifetime. Yes, we are damaged, we are flawed, we are broken. And all that was caused by the church, our friends, our families, our communities. Any talk of Jesus, the Bible, God, or hell is not going to fix us, so I suggest you find something different.
The people who worship Satan are suing the state of Texas over their abortion rule.
Marcus. 5 minutes of research is all it would have taken for you to get your facts right. Not all Satanists worship Satan. It is not a ritual, it is literally a rule in the Satanic temple that every person has the right to bodily autonomy, especially those persons with a uterus. To whom it may concern, you don't have to be a Satanist to be a part of the Satanic temple or be protected under their religious rights. If you want to sign up, it is completely free to do so. If you want the membership card and the certificate, it's going to be like $35, but it's a one-time payment. Either way, your right to bodily autonomy will be protected under the rules of the Satanic temple. Believe it or not, a lot of people are actually doing this. Cons, you're affiliated with the Satanic temple, but that could be a pro or a con depending on your own personal religious views. And if you choose to get the certificate and membership card, you're down a certain amount of money. Pros? Your rights are protected based on laws surrounding religious freedom. If it's part of a religion's rule that you have the autonomy to get an abortion if you so choose, legally they cannot deny you. And there are a lot of people who are saying, fuck whatever my religion says, I want my bodily autonomy, so I'm signing up for this shit. You don't have to attend any sort of mass or make direct contact with the Satanic temple in any way. It's just a quick little sign-up process, and boom, you're protected. Okay, so an easier way to think of the astral realm or the astral plane is to think of it as the world of the metaphysical. The way someone described it to me was a gigantic lounge where deities and spirits just kind of hang out. I also hear it is full of a lot of freakish beasts and monsters that will swallow you whole. In this realm, deities and spirits reside, and it's where new souls are created, and where souls go after they died, where they either choose to stay, or they choose to reincarnate into the next life. I like to think of our separation between our physical world and the metaphysical world as kind of like a veil. Sometimes there are holes and there are tears, and some things can get through. Dreams and meditation can often act as bridges, or sometimes I like to describe it as like a telephone that allows us to make contact with the metaphysical realm.
Bad, as well as Lucifer. I wanted to know why they were seen as bad.
I just realized there's a hashtag for me. The rules of the game have changed, people. Why is Hades seen as bad along with Lucifer? Putting it in layman's terms, both Lucifer, Hades, and Loki are all seen as these sort of devil figures in their respective mythologies. Mainly by Christians, if they were seen as evil or mischievous or trickstery, or they had authority over the realm of the dead, they were seen as devil figures. Even before Christianity came and ruined everything for these religions, nobody wanted to say Hades' name because they were afraid of getting his attention. Even though I've heard Hades is a pretty chill dude so long as you don't get too big for your britches and piss him off. But that's basically the general concept. Red alert! Loki found out I have makeup. Literally. This is a conversation that just transpired. Wait, now hold the phone. You have makeup? Well, I mean, yeah, but I don't really wear it. It's just like some black eyeliner and black lipstick with some glitter in it. Black lipstick with glitter? Look, you're acting like this is a foreign concept. It's not really a big deal. Go wear it! I want to see. Norse pagans, how do you do makeup? How do you make up? I don't know, I'm scared. Okay, so for the record, I did put the makeup on. I thought I didn't do a very good job, but Loki squealed as soon as I walked out of the bathroom, so it must look good. It must look good. Okay, here we go. This is the first time that I've worn any sort of makeup since I was 18. And honestly, I thought I was gonna have like a major dysphoria attack when I put it on, but Honestly, I feel kind of badass.